We will see now a game I played in 2006 against Levon Aronian. This game I lost it, and I would say it was mainly because of the opening preparation. He played a move that I didn't expect at all. And the funny thing is, when you go to databases, this move has been played already in 1952. So definitely something went really wrong in my preparation. And this, of course, made me spend a lot of time during the game and a lot of energy. These are two things that are very important, energy and time. And in this game especially, actually, I think I reacted very well. And I was very close to save the game and probably to make a draw. But this pressure, this energy, well, he was playing so fast and so confident that it was difficult for me to come back into the game. But I was very close. Let's have a look. D4, D5. He's a D4 player, so he basically plays always D4, C4. Okay, E6, Knight C3, C6, and he played this gambit. I have checked that, of course, before the game, and I have played it even with black a few times. And this didn't really came as a surprise for me, so I was relatively well prepared, I thought, but look at what happened. D4, Knight D4, Bishop B4 check. Knight C3 is a possible move, but after C5, black doesn't have many problems here, so it's okay. Bishop D2 is much more dangerous move. Queen D4. All this is critical, actually. If you don't go for this with black, you might be in a little trouble. There is no really a good alternative line for black. So you really need to learn this and to analyze this before you go and you allow this gambit. Because after 4 E4, I think there is no really good alternative. So this D4 and what I've played in this game is the best by far. Just to let you know. So Bishop D2, Queen D4, Bishop B4, Queen E4. Here there is two moves. Bishop E2 was played in the game, but Knight E2 deserves some attention as well. It's a little bit strange move, but well, it's still playable, and there are some alternatives for black. Of course, the most obvious move is Knight A6, and black is doing more or less okay, but as I said, this is a dangerous line. You should be very careful when analyzing it. He played Bishop E2, and so far, of course, I was still in my preparation. Here, well, I've played a few times this move Knight A6, and I was prepared against move like Bishop A5, which is not so good, move like Bishop C3, and even Bishop F8 has been played as well. I knew a little bit, and also Bishop A3. But then my opponent immediately blitzed Bishop D6. And then I was like, wow, what happened here? I haven't seen this before ever in my life. And it's so strange because it's only move 9, and the theory actually starts here. After Knight A6, here, white has lots of moves. And for some reason, I totally missed Bishop D6 in my preparation. And this was terrible because, well, it's such a complex position, and your position is so dangerous. The king on E8 is in trouble because it's so hard to castle now, and white's idea to play Queen D2 and long castle, or even Rook D1 connected with the bishop on D6 it's so dangerous. The possible mate with Queen D8 in the future is going to be very unpleasant. So this was really a difficult moment for me. Luckily, I was playing a long chess tournament, so I had a lot of time to react. There was like almost 2 hours to think. It was a little bit slower than nowadays, so I really had time, but the problem is it's too complex for a human to understand what's going on exactly here. And well, but anyway, I think I reacted very well. First of all, what I did was to reject Queen G2. Well, of course, I didn't reject it immediately. I still was checking it for a little bit. But once I saw that after Queen G2, Queen D2 queen h1 doesn't probably work, because just long castle, and this is almost mate already. This is, the attack is unstoppable, and apart from the attack with queen d8, the queen on h1 is almost trapped. So white is winning already here. So once you see that queen h1 is not possible and you don't have any preparation, this is just too dangerous. So basically I was sure that I will not play this queen g2. I wanted to make knight h6 to work, but well, I mean, the idea is quite obvious. I want to play something like knight f5 and to change on d6. But on the other hand, it's not so obvious how to play after, for example, castle, knight f5, and then simply castle. And it's just too slow. It's just too slow, because after knight d6, queen d6, and the queen is also super strong on d6, and now rook d1 is coming. And the bishop on e2 is hanging, but just not possible to take it because rook ad1 is winning the game. So basically, knight h6 looks also quite dangerous. But I found this move. So in the end, I played e5, which seemed to me like, well, this is not so terrible actually. He played knight f3. All this he was playing instantly. I think it's a good trick to psychologically press your opponent. If you blitz all your moves, you make your opponent feel that he's in trouble somehow. And this actually helped him a little bit during the game, because it was hard for me. Okay, here I played bishop g4. This was the idea. He plays short castle. And I found this great idea, actually, very logical. I mean, I was sure I will not castle in the short side, so I found long castle. And here, actually, nowadays, I realized that he wasn't maybe perfectly prepared. I mean, he was prepared good enough for this moment, but actually, there is a move like b4. I think this might have caused much more trouble for me here, because now a move like c5 is coming, holding the bishop on d6, and the attack on the queen side, it can be very, very dangerous. And this b4 might be even stronger. But instead of that, he went for, I mean, I don't say b4 is winning or something, but I think in a practical game, it's going to create much more problems than what he played. Because he went for bishop d3. Okay, I have queen f4 limov. I could have played rook d6, but this is not really even trying to equalize. This is just better for white. It's a change up. You have some little chances to save here, but it's not nice to play this with black. Maybe Karyakin will save it, but a player like me was going to suffer a lot here with black. So I played queen f4, and he played bishop e5. And this was my idea, actually. A beautiful idea is to give the queen by the moment, to take it back in a minute. So knight d5, bishop d1. Now he plays, of course, he plays with the idea of taking on f7. Otherwise, if he simply plays rook a d1, then knight h6, and black has everything under control. You protect f7, the king will go to c7, knight c5, and your pieces are slowly coordinating. But of course, I knew that he'll not allow this, because otherwise it will be very easy for me to defend this position. So he went for the sharp line, which is to give a check on f5. Then I played king c7. It's much more logical than to put the king on b8. So king b8 is probably just wrong, because knight f7, it's a worse version, simply. So king c7 is okay, and knight f7. And here I made actually my first mistake. And it would be actually very nice that during the game someone comes to tell you, like, so far you're playing perfect. Don't worry, because so far everything is going okay. But this wasn't the case, and I wasn't sure if he's still blitzing the moves, and I wasn't sure if what I'm doing is actually correct. because still looks like a very shaky position, very strange, and I wasn't sure. For example, let's say a move like knight h6, which is probably the best move. He could take, for example, knight d8, rook d8, bishop h7, and it's hard to evaluate this position actually. He has two pawns and a rook for two knights. And now bishop e2 is actually an important move because you're threatening the rook and the pawn. And after rook fc1, you play something like rook d2, and then the knight is coming to b4 or c5. And actually it looks quite playable for black. It's not so bad. Maybe if this game happened to be here, well, my opponent is thinking a lot. Maybe I would have gone for this knight h6, but maybe here I was a little scared actually that I don't know. I was trying to survive, but maybe the position requires a little bit of active play and some more confidence. In the end, I played bishop h5, which is not the perfect move. Maybe it's already a little mistake, but it's not a losing move anyway. It's still just maybe slightly better for white. But so okay, he still kept playing very fast. Knight takes d8. Well, I have no other choice than to take, and then he plays g4, which is a good move. Okay, now of course white is threatening the bishop on h5, but apart from that, he's threatening to play rook ad1 check and to come with the rook to d7, which is gonna kill the game. But I had a little nice trick here to play knight h6, and now I put big pressure on the bishop and the pawn, so I protect my bishop on h5. He still goes rook ad1 check. This is all quite forced and quite normal. Still not obvious, but if you have time, you can find such moves. So king c7 is normal, and after rook d7 check, king b6. And here, well, I thought I can try to save this game here. I mean, it doesn't look so bad, but he was tricky here. He was tricky because he kept playing very fast, and obviously he wasn't sure about it because he couldn't have this position in his home analysis. But the psychological factor worked very well for him in this game. Actually, computer nowadays say that black has an almost equal position here, so it's not so bad. He took rook g7. This basically forces me to play knight f5 and gf5, and here it's a nice and important position actually. White has two extra pawns, but and the rook, but I have two minor pieces, and well, the little problem of my position is that the f pawn is very dangerous, and the rook on g7 is very active, and combined with the other rook, maybe with a move like rook e7 and rook e1 and rook e7, it's gonna create a lot of trouble for my king also on b6. But well, it's two minor pieces are strong normally, and here maybe I made another little mistake, but it wasn't obvious. I mean, I could have played maybe bishop e2, very precise move, but after a move like rook e1, bishop c4, well, the problem is after rook e7, you need to give b7 with check, and this is not so easy. But on the other hand, the important thing is that you got to change the diagonal of the bishop, and as you might know, it's very important for the minor pieces to be protected. So this bishop on d5, it's super strong because it's protected and it cannot get kicked out from there, from d5. So it was a very important plan to move this bishop and to bring it to d5. This square is great for the bishop because it's controlling the f7 square, which is going to be very important for the f pawn. You can try to protect this advance of the pawn. On the other hand, it also restricts the white king, and it attacks the pawn on a2. So it has many nice ideas there. So bishop e2 was crucial, because otherwise your bishop on h5, it can have some trouble sometimes, and it's going to be a problem. What I played here is rook f8. Maybe it's not the best move, but it's a logical move anyway. I mean, I want to take the pawn on f5, and if it's even possible, I will play bishop g6. If he plays now rook g5, this is of course a mistake, because now bishop e2 is even stronger than before. So rook g5 is a bad move. But he understood very well the position. He played rook e1. He's playing for the initiative. He doesn't want me to coordinate my pieces. If I manage to coordinate my pieces with two minor pieces, I can even be better with black here. And here I made a mistake, and I'm sure this mistake was provoked by his confidence and by the lack of energy probably I had already. I mean, it's been like 14, 15 moves. He's playing instantly, almost instantly, very fast. And I have probably less than half an hour here already, and he has more than 1 hour. And it's hard to play a game like this. It's a lot of pressure when you are the only one who is thinking. But my position wasn't actually so bad. I could play rook f5, rook e7, and now the problem is you need to understand that you need to give b7 and e7. Well, there is no way to escape from this, because if you play knight c5, then b4 is very strong, and you cannot really protect b7. But instead of knight c5, you can try to go something like king c5 and rook b7. Now something like king c4 or bishop g6, and black is close to save the game, I think, here. Black is relatively close, although I didn't like this line so much, but still not so far from making a draw here. I mean, it's better for white anyway, but it's not so terrible, still some chances. And comparing to what I did, this was really a mistake. I mean, the problem sometimes when you're comparing positions is that you don't like something, and then you choose something even much worse. And as you will see, this position is worse for black, but there was chances, for example, even here to play something like king c4, and you don't allow to change rooks so quickly. So still good chances to make a draw here. But what I played in the game is rook e1, I played knight c5. And after b4, which is a very obvious move, I had to play knight d3, rook e7, and now I'm in big trouble, because b7 is hanging and it's going to be mate, so I'm forced to take on b4, rook b7 check, and I'm forced to go king c5. But now probably I missed this move, but you feel that something's going to happen here. All your pieces are hanging, and rook g5 is an excellent move, of course. It's the only move that is winning. But it's you should feel that this can happen, actually, because the knight is hanging, the bishop is hanging, this f pawn is very strong, the king is in a little bit of trouble. So, well, here I'm already lost. It's a pity, but so basically knight c5 is losing the game. But rook f5 was perfectly playable, and I was very close to save the game. I didn't play such a bad game. But in the end, this, well, the pressure in the opening, the pressure with the time, and the lack of energy after thinking so much, and all these factors together made me make a mistake. And, well, knight c5 is the last mistake, but it's enough to lose, yes. So knight d3, rook e7, knight b4, rook b7 check, king c5, and now very important move, rook g5. I've played bishop f3, f6 check, and the problem is now that the knight is hanging on b4, so I'm forced to take on c4. Now my opponent plays rook f5, very precise, and he attacks the bishop on f3, and he's ready to give a check on f4 and to collect my knight on b4. I mean, we need to give credit to Levon Aronian, because his opening preparation was very, very interesting. Then he played very fast, and then he killed the game when he could. So I mean, he played an excellent game. It's not possible to discuss that. Well, let's see how this finished. After rook f4 check, I played king c3, rook b takes b4, bishop a2, rook a4, bishop f7, rook a7, c5, f3, c4, king f2, king b3, rook b7 check, and I resigned. And it was a good decision to resign. There is nothing to do here. It's completely lost position. So, well, I mean, first of all, well, when you prepare some openings, try to check a little bit the database. And, well, it cannot happen that you don't know anything about a move that was played in 1952 in a critical position like this, in a gambit like this. There are positions where it's not that important if you don't know a novelty or something happening in, I don't know, in Berlin endgame or in the Italian. But here in a gambit, or in a, let's say in an Evans gambit, or in this gambit, or this kind of gambits are crazy, and if you don't know your stuff, then you might get lost quickly. But in this game, I was lucky enough or inspired enough to save, or at least to fight a lot. But then one more little mistake, one more little inaccuracy, and probably provoked by the time pressure, the pressure in the game that he's playing so fast, and also the position is difficult, it's not so easy. So this, I mean, all these factors added one to the other, in the end provokes a losing game. But well, I think it's we have food for thought at least. Okay, thanks for watching.